Well, we arrived at this unfaithful day. I mean, guys, some people expected this, some people are delusional and didn't want to accept it, but we're on the last day of November. This is legitimately the last day of November, and we have gotten nothing. No word, no announcement, no ping, no post, no disclaimers, no FYIs, no tweets, no shit posts, nothing for Rell. And I don't really know what to tell you guys. From the moment October passed and there was no announcement of CC, it was a little bit shaky, but it was like, okay, we have the whole of November. But November has come and gone. We didn't get anything that hinted at, genuinely at the start of this week, I had my fingers crossed. I even spoke about it privately with Sage Z. Had my fingers, I said fingers, that's how you know I'm all over the place. I had my fingers crossed that at some point before the end of this week, we would get at least a tweet or a post or a heads up or a FYI that, hey, we are working on movie free. Even if it's not like a random movie free post on the YouTube channel, it would have been like a heads up or FYI, hey, movie free is coming along. And then maybe, you know how they used to like screenshot the file, or they'll screenshot themselves editing the video or something along those lines. We didn't get any of that. I had hoped at some point this week we would get something like that, and that genuinely would have been amazing, right? It would have been beautiful. It would have been just something to hope and linger on to. And obviously I've made quite a few, I think I've made 2 or 3 videos now on the things that need to happen for Rell to release in 2025. Recently I even made the Rell 2026 video, and everything I said in that video is low-key coming to par. The only thing I will say about that video that's probably not gonna happen or is not true is Rell probably won't come in January or February, because there's no reason for the developers, or should I say the Rell brothers, to release Rell now that Rell is genuine. Like, even if it's not confirmed, there's just no way this game comes out this year. We haven't got movie free and we haven't got CC. Guys, bear in mind CC has to be a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks long. It would even make sense 2 weeks is short. Remember, CC, closed community, is they treat it like a story. There's like a whole storyline that takes place before the OC, aka the release of Rell to the public, right? They did something very similar with Shindo Life too. Again, if CC doesn't happen, just imagine release doesn't. Now, I haven't even mentioned testing and things of that nature. I honestly haven't been keeping track of what's been going on with the whole testing thing. I don't know. There has been testing. I don't know if there hasn't been testing. I do remember there were old screenshots of they used to post inside the sneaks of Rell where testers would say stuff, or testers had screenshots of each other. Go to sleep, go to sleep. But again, I really don't know, right? The only things that actually matter to me, and the only thing that should matter to a civilian and a member of a public, is movie free and CC, because if those 2 things don't happen, the release doesn't exist, right? So even if we got movie free and CC in December, Rell wouldn't release in 2025. It's confirmation now. Even if both of those had time to happen in December, Rell wouldn't release in 2025. So even if it's not official, the fact that we're in the last day of November and the Rell brothers haven't said anything, it is official that Rell isn't releasing this year. There isn't a realistic time frame where they would be able to actually release the game this year. And again, it's common sense. There were a lot of people in my last video that, again, still held on to false hope, even though I kind of broke down the reasons why it wouldn't release in 2025. And a lot of people are just saying, oh, revolveragz, you're just assuming things. No, this isn't even assumptions. It's calculated. I mean, it low-key is assumptions, but it's calculated assumption. It's just common sense. They wouldn't be able to fit everything within such a short time period without the game exploding in everybody's faces. And the Rell brothers Brothers are perfectionists, so why would they want to cluster everything within a short time span? Again, you just have to use your common sense and you would know this stuff, right? But again, a lot of people don't use their common sense, or they just don't want to believe information because it's coming from me. And I mean, I understand who would believe the random British boy on the internet, right? So yeah, whether you believe it or not, Rell just isn't coming. Okay guys, it's not. Now, if I had to give a realistic projection of Rell's release, I would say summer of 2026 makes the most sense. Now, it sounds like I'm enthusiastic about it. Don't get it twisted. I am not happy about that. Even if the game was to come in like March, right? Springtime, spring break, right? Again, it has to happen at some point, but spring break doesn't even make that much sense. Spring break is only 1 week of people off of school. If I was one of the developers, one of the owners of the biggest game on the Roblox platform, the biggest anime game to ever release on the Roblox platform, I would not release in a time span where people, the majority of your players or the majority of my players, would be in school. It just doesn't make sense. Why would I release my game in January or February? March is only 1 week. This isn't a short-term game. This is a universal long-term game, right? The only time frame that makes sense for something this big is summer, beginning of summer. Now, this is Roblox and it's the anime community, so summer, beginning of summer. If we're lucky, we'll get it before the end of summer, if we're lucky, right? But summer makes the most sense to me. I would assume summer. Now, the only reason I say this is pretty bad is because every single Roblox anime game that's gotten delayed this year has said, hey guys, summer of 2026. If everybody collides their release dates with Rell, I guarantee you a lot of the other anime games that are meant to be releasing are either going to release with Rell and die, or just have numbers that they shouldn't have, right? Because obviously majority of the player base will go to Rell, so it's going to affect new releases 100%. There's only a limited amount of people, right? And a lot of these games in the Roblox anime community share the same player base, whether they know it or not, or share similar player bases, whether they know it or not. Or the other games are gonna end up delaying because of Rell, but that wouldn't make sense to do either, because when are you gonna release then? So it's a weird situation. It's most definitely a weird situation. It's quite tragic. It's very tragic if we're being honest with each other, but there's nothing we can do about it. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do, the only thing we can hope for, and the only thing we can pray for is that we do get movie free at least in December. That's the only thing we can hope for, movie free in December. And CC won't happen this year either, because if this game is projected for a mid 2026 release, if it's projected for a mid 2026 release, there's no reason to host CC so far away from when the game would release. There really isn't. The only thing that would make sense for us to get far away from the release is movie free, because then movie free, the Rell brothers could say something like, hey guys, this is a time frame we want for release. But even then, everyone's gonna be a bit skeptical. Everyone's gonna be a bit I hear it, but we'll believe it when we see it. At this point, not even just Rell, I think the anime community is losing hope and trust, and they're desperate. I mean, look at how many people from the anime community are playing The Forge. That game sucks. That game is terrible. I wouldn't say it's terrible, it's just not. It is the most boring, repetitive thing I've ever seen in the world. I've seen people complaining about Rell and chopping down trees to build boats, but you guys are mining, doing slave simulator for hours, mining in mines to mine better mines or better pickaxes and trash weapons that you use for a very mediocre PvE system. Like, the PvE system was just thrown in the game for the sake of being thrown in the game to give players something to do, which is craft pointless weapons. That game is so boring. The gameplay cycle is dull and repetitive. There's nothing inherently interesting about that game, yet it has 200. The Roblox community is finished. I don't know what to say. Rell 2026 and our worst fears came true. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.